Appreciate it. We're back for some football. And Vinny, good seeing you, my man. Got the Michigan jersey on. Son's playing hockey there. USA hockey also. Congratulations. That was fantastic. Yep. Always a Michigan fan, but now I was a Michigan hockey fan for a while because Jared Rosberg, right? Yep. You always cheer for your friends. Now I'm a Michigan hockey fan. He's Michigan State. That's what I meant to say. Michigan State hockey fan for Jared Rosberg. So we got that. We can clip that and cut that properly. But now a Michigan fan for Serrato. That's what it's about. So happy Mother's Day out there to all the moms, and especially happy Mother's Day to my mom, Jackie Harbaugh, the greatest mom, the most passionate mom I've ever met. She's a great mom. And then to my daughter's mom, Ingrid, my wife, happy Mother's Day. Moms are amazing. So thanks for all they do. And then with this camp now we're having, this rookie camp, it has a kind of a specific purpose, right? Everything we do has a purpose. Everything we do has a tempo and a method to it. And the biggest purpose here right now is to basically teach these guys how to practice and how to meet and how to operate in the National Football League in terms of how we do things. So guys did a great job yesterday. The tempos were good. They worked hard. They learned. We start teaching them the fundamentals of what we do and see how they learn and everything. But there's a lot of fun. They're having fun. So we'll have another day today and tomorrow, and then we'll be on to the next thing. So what questions do you have?
John, does the weather at all kind of crimp what you like to do? Does that get in the way of some of the things you'd like to evaluate and do with these guys?
Well, it gets in the way. The weather gets in the way in the sense that we're not outside. We like to be outside. It's a lot more fun. We're in here. But the fields are just too wet to go out and do anything on right now.
John, you mentioned the process of learning how to practice. For you as a head coach, is it exciting to see some of your new assistants going through a practice setting like this for the first time?
It is. It's great to see the new assistants. It's exciting to see those guys. And like I said, new assistants, new players. We do have a thing. We have certain protocols that we have at practice because we like to keep our coaches away from the players while they're playing, while they're practicing. You can't be out there on Sunday telling them what to do. So we like to, it's like I think it was Eisenhower who said, if you're going to fight in the North Atlantic, you got to train in the North Atlantic, right? Which is why you're going to tell me I should have been outside today, probably. But you want to make it tough on them. So I want the coaches back. So they were creeping up a little bit yesterday, so they got scolded.
When you talk about the difference in practicing and how this is would you say it's a steep learning curve going from college pro and the transition to learning to practice in the pro setting?
That's a great question. It's a steep learning curve in many ways. In other ways, you just tell them it's still football. Let's not overthink it a little bit. So it's still, 100 yards by 53 and a third. There's still 11 on each side. The hashes are different. Some of the receiver splits and the DBs messed up some of their leverages because they just kind of got out of whack on the hashes. So that's kind of part of it. But it's a pretty steep learning curve in terms of volume. There are very few teams out there in college football, offense or defense or special teams. They all do all the things you see in pro football, but very few do all the things that a team will do in pro football. So we say they're drinking from the fire hose a little bit, but we want them to drink from the fire hose. Like we come out and we do a tempo period. It's no contact, but it's fast. So everybody's moving fast. It's like, oh my God, how can I? It's the first day they got their installs. Well, I'd rather them understand what they've got to build into in terms of their knowledge, the tempo of the thing, rather than go slow and then later say, well, now we need to go faster because we know what we're doing. Let's start with the tempo and then let's work our way and build into it.
John, you guys draft a lot of Alabama players. Does the culture kind of help them transition to the league for you guys, especially knowing you guys' culture?
Yeah, I think there's certain college football programs that are built more like NFL programs. Alabama is one, Michigan is the other one. I would say that the two top ones, if you want to say, they're the two top ones. I would say. Now maybe a little, those are the ones I'm thinking of off the top of my head. So those guys generally come in and they kind of know what to expect. It's a little flatter for those guys in terms of practice and understanding how it works.
So John, were the kids that when they came in, the draft picks, were they what you thought on film?
Yeah, they were. They were, Vinny. Exactly. That's a great question because you kind of like hold your breath a little bit. I can remember a couple of times when I was an assistant coach in Philly and they draft a guy first round and I'd see him the first time and I'm like, what are they looking at? Turned out to be right in the end sometimes. That first impression is kind of real, right? Yep. But all those guys made a great first impression yesterday. Very happy with every one of them. And undrafted guys, too, they look good. So it'd be fun for you guys to watch them today.
John, mentioned undrafted guys. You did bring in 6 wide receivers, and I think 5 of those guys are 6'2" or taller. First of all, does that stand out? And was that something you guys were looking for, to bring in some size guys to maybe complement the rest of the group that you already have?
Sure, that wasn't by chance. That wouldn't just happen. So we were looking for the bigger guys, and we found some guys, and guys wanted to come here. I know that runs counter to some of the stories that you read out here, but guys wanted to come here, and we've had a lot of conversations with veteran receivers that want to be here. Geronimo Allison's out here. You'll see him out here today working out. So, and I'm talking about in terms of tryout. And then there's other guys that want to be here too. But yeah, I think we have a great crop of free agent wide receivers because they saw the opportunity.
Hey John, how many of the undrafted guys came off of your draft board? Because at the draft meeting, Eric said you had like 170, 190. So I'm guessing that you guys were recruiting those guys that were still on your board at the end.
Yeah, almost all of them. I would say, Vinny, I don't know the number. Eric would know the number. I didn't really get a chance to ask him what the number was. But Mark Azevedo is our scout. He's an area scout, but he leads the charge with the undrafted guys. He's great at it. He's been doing it for a long time. He recruits those guys. He gets to know those guys. The position coaches and the area scouts do the same. I think we do a great job of recruiting those guys. We're always mad when we don't get a guy. We think, why would you want to come here? We're offended. But these guys wanted to come, so we're happy about that.
Hey, Coach, besides Kyle Hamilton, you have a lot of good skilled cornerbacks. How beneficial is having in the physical part, like players like Marcus Williams, Tony Jefferson, and even Chuck Clark?
We're very deep at safety, and we were deep at safety before. Then you add, a guy like Kyle, and the whole thing the depth explodes in your face. It's like, man, the depth chart's full with really good players. I mean, we know all about the guys that are playing back there. Chuck. We know about Chuck. You guys have seen Chuck. He's one of the best safeties in football, in my opinion. Marcus obviously was high price free agent that we were pleased to get. And after that, Tony Jefferson can play football. Geno Stone's a really good young safety. Brandon Stevens, who started last year at safety for us, he's also got corner flexibility. So with all those safeties, he's probably going to be moving the corner a little bit and playing, but he can play all the spots. So flexibility there. So I'm really happy with that group.
John, you talked about the versatility of a couple of guys that you ended up drafting, so maybe some of the undrafted guys. How challenging is it for them to not only get up to speed with the practicing at the pro level, but also to train in multiple positions and learn different scheme sets that you guys are planning to utilize?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, guys, you learn your whole career. I mean, Marcel Darius is out here working out. You've heard of him, right? I mean, gosh, he's out here working out, and he even says, he goes, Coach, I'm learning stuff out here. You're always learning as a coach. You can do it. I think 36 years now, and you can't believe every day that you learn something. So, but these guys are just starting. So the idea is to get them up to speed right now in terms of that they can compete in the OTAs and compete against themselves. The other thing that's tough for these guys, especially the trial guys, is they're trying out, for a spot in the team. But there's no competition here. You're not competing against the guy across from you. So you're just competing against your own ability to execute the technique and get the assignment right, basically. And we're kind of watching how they move and how they learn, because that's all you're allowed to do. So it's a big challenge.
When you mentioned Chuck, there's some talk about him and his future or his status with this team. Do you still see him definitively fitting into this year's team, or is his role something you have to consider after after signing Williams and drafting Hamilton?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's role is what it is, and that's what as a coach you're so excited about. And the idea is to have as many good players as you can have, and have them in the right spots and the right roles. So I love the fact that we have very versatile players in the back end at safety. So to me, Chuck's a big part of this team, and I'm planning on Chuck being here. So I'm not going to worry about all the other stuff. The other stuff is the other stuff. It's part of pro football. I understand it. But I love Chuck Clark. I love the way he plays, and I'm very happy that he's a Raven.
John, Tyler Linderbaum, obviously, talented guy, a lot of expectations, but physically, we see what he can do. How important is it mentally for him to, pick things up quickly, because he's playing a thinking man's position? Obviously, if he starts, he'll have a huge responsibility.
No question, Cliff. Two things about that. I think he's in a good spot because he played center his whole career. So he's done all that. And Kurt Ferentz is an O-line coach, and he always has great O-line coaches at Iowa. So he's well schooled that way, just like all the Iowa offensive linemen. The other part of that is that it's a challenge because now it's pro football, and he's got a lot to learn. So how fast he progresses with that will probably be the main thing in terms of whether he starts or not, or how we do it. I mean, we've got other guys too. Pat McCurry And Pat, I talked to Pat about his role, right? And so Pat's going to have a big role with us. However it shakes out, how it shakes out, just time will tell.
John, I have to ask, saw you at AEW show on Wednesday night. How did you like that? And have you thought about that as a post-coaching move, maybe?
Yeah, give me. They didn't give me the mic, you know. Probably rightly so. One of the guys did tell me, I'll have his name for you later. Nicest guy in the world outside the ring, but man, he transformed. He came out of the tunnel, and I was like, dude, is that the same guy I was talking to? But he stared me down, you know. So I didn't want to overreact, you know. You never know what could happen out there. But no, seriously, it was fun. Brian Pillman is my guy. He's the son of my college teammate, college roommate, Brian Pillman, who was known as Flying Brian, who was, remember the four Horsemen of the Apocalypse back in the day, superstar wrestler. And so I love Brian, love his family. I love Brian Jr. And so to support him was the reason we went. The other benefit was we had a ball. I mean, I love Marlon back there with the shades, you know, and the deal. And I had the two big guys. You know, they were. I had to tell Tony Khan, it's like, those guys are under contract with us. Leave those guys alone. So, but we had a great time.
John, when people talk about Falele, you know, I think they throw around the term developmental, but you look at what he did in the Big Ten. I think just 1 sack allowed last year. To you, what stands out about where he is right now and where he needs to go?
Yeah, you know, I mean, everybody's developmental. You know, I'm developmental. We're all developmental, right? We're trying our best to become better at what we do. So. But he's gonna play this year. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the guy's big. He can move. He's got good feet. I was just watching the tape just now. He's moving his feet really well, and yet he's got so much to learn that he's got to go to work every day and get better. But I anticipate him, you know, playing football for us this year.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.